Hey everyone, GeForce41 here with another in a series of course design tips for PGA Tour 2K23. This is a follow-up to my initial video, which was making your greens look natural. So this is making your greens look natural part 2. In part 1, I took you out to a few real courses that were displayed in the game in both 2K21 and 2K23. And went through some basics of making sure your green complexes are flowing in the right directions and looking natural. We'll review those concepts in a moment. But a note on what today's video is about. I wanted to take it a step further and take you out to some user design courses. We're going to look at a really well done user design course by Matt F27. If you don't know Matt, you're new to this game because Matt is one of the most well-known and most let's just say this: his courses have been featured as official courses probably more than anybody by HB Studios in 2K23. He's done a host of videos, tutorials. He streams on Twitch. And he offers a great deal of advice out there for everyone. And his courses are just absolutely textbook fantastic. So we're going to take a look at his Vermilion Range golf course. This is his new course. It's an entry in the CC design contest. But we're going to use it here to display some of these concepts because I just knew he'd pull this off. And I knew I was going to use it before I even looked at the course. So we'll look at this in a second. And then what we're going to do is go to some user design courses where the greens are missing a bit. And there's no, no intent on my part to poke fun at those designers or their courses. So in the spirit of fairness, I will poke fun at one of my own holes, okay? And then we'll wrap it up and bring it all together, right? So let's get going. So this is Making the Greens Look Natural Part 2. We're at Vermilion Range Country Club. And first thing off the bat, just notice how Matt uses the landscape. Matt is an artist in his spare time as well, and it comes through on his courses. He's always painting a picture. But if you notice this course, it's a downhill. It's really downhill. It's 100 feet. Par 4. And it goes hard right to left. And we're going to take a look at how the green works when we get down there. Whoops. In a moment. And talk about this green. We're not going to go through the whole course. That's going to take too long. I'm going to, kind of cut back and forth to select greens and go from there. Okay? But just in way of review, the point is make your greens look natural. Make sure they flow naturally. Ensure they fit in with the rest of the landscape and it makes sense. And consider how water will drain. And if you get those 4 concepts down, that's a start. It's just a start into making your green interesting and natural. It's not the whole thing, folks. It's just you kind of had to think about what your green's going to be doing and then, take it from there. Okay? All right, so let's get playing. Okay, so I left that in there, the flight of the ball in there, just so you can see the overall landscape and how the first hole was flowing down the hill. Now, if you take a look here, we're heading downhill and off to right to left a little bit. Let's take a look how this green is situated. It's on the side of a hill up here, okay? But then there's a hill over here that leads off to the next hill and down into a valley, and there's some water down there. Okay, so is the whole green going right to left? No, of course not. It's nestled in between 2 hills. If you look, the predominant flow of the green is from right to left, coming off the hill on the right. Okay, but then there's a hill on the left, and another little knoll right here on the left. So the left side of the green moves a little to the left. The right side moves a little bit to the right. Okay, and it's nestled in between those 2 hills. Okay, so when I say I'm not making a case that all the greens should be moving all in one direction. Here's an instance where you've got a hard left to right downhill hole, and the green's doing a little bit of both, and then it's draining out to the front, okay? A little. See, most of those beads in the front are moving to the front. And this one moves a little bit to the back, okay? There you go. Okay. All right. Let's see how close I can get it. There you go. Okay, so we're here on hole 2, and it was downhill tee shot. I hit a 3-wood just to be safe here and not get too close to the green. But as you see, this hole goes downhill, and off to the left there's a stream. Very nicely done, of course. And there's a little bit of high ground over here. So as you would expect, if you take a look at the screen, where's it predominantly moving? Just gently off to the left, okay? Gently off to the left. And then there's some interesting knolls here, kind of cutting through the middle, cutting through the side, and there's a tier in the back, okay? And everything's gently moving off to the water. Is it an extreme slope? Nope. But you see how he's fit the green in here naturally with the contours of the land that's formed by the river. So the green shape is very similar to the water, where the water is. And then he's fitting the green around that hill there. All right. So everything kind of makes sense if you look at it. It's very natural, simple. Is it a super dramatic hole? No. It's a second hole. It's a shortish 4. It's a very pretty scenic hole with an interesting green. You've got that kind of lower tier in the front. You've got a plateau here, and then you've got a section in the back. Is it tiered? I wouldn't call that a tiered green necessarily, but it's got 3 different sections. So I'm sure there's a whole location in each one of those. And then, you know, I'm sure maybe that back section has 2. I don't know. I haven't played the course other than the first hole location. I've played the front. But so there you have it. Nice, simple green. Look at that nice, simple roll. Well done. Okay, here we are at number 5. Slightly downhill tee shot. Centerline bunker off to the right. The green is situated just on the other side of the stream, and let's take a look at how that one's going to move. Okay, hit a pretty good tee shot. So what would you expect this one to do? You've got a little bit of a hill up here on the right, and you've got the green nestled in this little corner of land by the water, and you've got water on 2 sides. So where do you think the green's going? Predominantly off to the right. Okay. Now, of course, Matt being an excellent designer, he's got an interesting green here. We got a knoll here and one here, and that gives the green some interesting playability, right? Because now you've got this front section, you got a middle section, and now you got a back section. So is the green going all one direction? Of course not. You've got these 2 hills that make it interesting. You could pull one back off of this slope into that whole location. You can bounce one off of this hill back here to this type of hole location. And, you know, you can use this hill for some help, etc. I'm sure if you have a pin back here, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. But predominantly, this green goes down to the right with a little bit of the hill pushing this way. If you look in the back, it's coming off to the side there, okay? So there's a drainage point there, and you can see how the green could drain in the front as well. Okay? It comes down in here. So there you go. He's hit every one of the aspects a good green should have. This is a very interesting one, and I like this approach. It's angled away from the fairway, which makes it a little interesting. You know, where do you want to come in with your shot? And this is a very well done green. Let's see if I can get one off that back slope right there. Not going to catch the slope, but I could get close. Come back. Come on back. Not bad. All right. Okay, we're at the 8th hole now. Par 3, downhill 57 feet, 217 yards. Wow. And let's take a look at this one. Pretty location for green. Nestled in this corner here with the stream winding around the front left and the back left side. There's a little rough area here with 2 trees in it. That's a nice little touch. But as you can imagine, the landscape looks like there's a little bit of a hill. It's coming down this way, this way, this way. So where do you think this green is moving? Down to the water, okay? So you've got a little bit of a hill here into this section. You've got a little bit of a ridge here. It continues to keep going downhill, 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 off to the side here. Now, is any of this dramatic? No, because it's a kind of a flat area. You wouldn't expect to see something dramatic right here. This is perched right in the little corner as the landscape feeds into the water. So is it moving a little bit right to left? Yes. Is it dramatic? No. That's not what you would expect, right? So again, this is just very well done. Just absolutely painting a pretty picture here, literally. And it's a fun tee shot in. So let's see what we can do. Can we get it close? 59 feet. A little bit of wind behind me. I'm going here. We're going 6 iron. Gonna draw it in softly a little. That might be pretty good. Be a little long. But you can see it takes the slope there. Goes a little bit to the water. And there you can see how it's gently moving to the water. Okay? Very, very well done. A longish par 3, you don't need too many dramatic slopes. Just a simple land movement, elegantly done. And the putt was not elegantly done. Too much. Okay, here we are on the 12th, a par 5. You can see it's a relatively flat fairway with some trees and hills off to the left. Let's see how this one plays out. Okay, we're looking about 245 in, and now let's take a look at this one. Again, you've got the water off to the right. The green is nestled in that corner very nicely. And where does most of this green move? Just gently, gently, gently to the water. Okay? It's got an interesting ridge here. Keeps it interesting. So you got a section up here, a section here. I'm sure there's a pin there. And you can have a pin in the front, in the middle left, middle right, wherever you like. But again, simple green moving simply to the water. And then you can see it's moving a little bit towards the front. Okay? So it's pitched just right. It's not too severe. It's going to be receptive to a long shot in. Let's see how I can do. Didn't quite draw it enough. We're going to be off on the right, just on that other section. Good hole, though. Okay, now that we've looked at some holes by an expert designer, we're going to take a look at some holes that just don't work. And again, I just want to repeat, it's not my intent to be critical or poke fun at these designers. And therefore, at the end of this section, I'm going to put in one of my own holes, okay? But we're here at Drum Leg Links. I pointed this out in my video, so I came here because I've already pointed this out. Here's a green that just doesn't work, okay? You can see, we're off by the water. It's uphill. It's a short 4. Had a nice drive down to about 98 yards. And this could be a nice hole. It's a good green site, but the execution is just off because you've got this big valley down here, and this makes no sense to me, right? This is what I call a puddle green. Everything is going to puddle right here in this section. There's no drainage whatsoever. And it's a pretty severe slope going back there. So to me, this one just doesn't work. It doesn't look right, and I don't think you'd see anything like that in real life. Now, the concept of having a few sections of this green to work, I think this should be the high side, right? Think about what we just saw. You're going to a hill here. Yes, there's water up here. Do I expect this to go to the water? No, because you're up on a hill. So the hill, this should be the high side, here and here, and here. And this is the low side, right? So I'd expect this green to kind of go like this. All right. And that back section should pretty much be the highest point on the green. And I could see how you'd have a section here, and then the front section. I almost see this being a kind of like a double plateau kind of green if you wanted to get real fancy. And then, this is a little severe, this slope here, but that's not my point. It's just that this back section is not what you'd expect to see, if you ask me. Okay, so that's one that just misses. I love this course though. Not poking fun at Rich's course. Look at the scenery in the background, right? So great job on this course. This green just doesn't work. We're going to look at one more on this course and then move to another one. Okay, here we are on the 6th hole. Pretty hole. I mean, look at this scene that's set off the tee. Real nice, right? You can see the flag is down there in the valley just off to the left. So you can see some high side here and a low side there. Well, let's take a look what happens on the green. And we'll take a closer look when I put my shot in play. But as you can see, it's kind of like what I call a taco green. You got two sides folded up in this valley in the middle. So let me hit a tee shot and I'll show you a close up what I mean. Okay, so I'm right in the middle of the fairway, and you can see here's the high side, and you got a severe hill coming down off from the right. And then all of a sudden, you got this valley in the middle. Again, this is a puddle green. There's no drainage there, right? You could have a puddle right in there. And then you've got this very severe slope coming down from here, and this plateau over here, and you've got this high side over here. Yeah, you can say, well, Gary, you said there's a hill on the other side. It's a little severe. Is my point. I would think this green is better suited if, we took a look from the tee shot. The reason I showed you the tee shot is it went down to the left. The high side was on the right and the low side was on the left. I think if you had kind of the high side moving over here, this was all high side and the low side should be there. Sure, you could have a little hill over here where you put it in this little nook and cranny, possibly. But again, this just doesn't work. This is, I don't think where you'd see a green if the land really went this way. So again, this is not what you would expect to see. This one, given the tee shot, I would expect to go right to left. Okay, so it's kind of like two sides flipped up, and you've got this middle section, and this section, I'm not sure what's going on. That's just unpinnable. You could have a flat section there that drains down here. Okay. So this one just doesn't work, okay? But all in, again, just great course. I highly recommend playing it. It's fun. Look at the scenery. He did such a great job. Awesome course. Just a few of the greens were just off, so a little bit on the execution, okay? All right, let's check out another one. Okay, here we are at Winchester Woods, the 4th hole, par 3. Pretty course by Gene Creamers. Again, I reviewed this for the Rookie Design Contest. And this hole struck me as a little bit off when I did the video. So I wanted to highlight it here, given the context of the two videos we've done here on design. And when I originally did this video, I said, which way is this green going? Because I thought this green should go that way. So again, if you look at this from the context of what we're talking about the green flowing naturally, fitting in the landscape, you've got, the cityscape back there, the high side up here, and the low side down here by the water. It's a pretty setting. I think it's a great location for the green. I just don't expect it to go from front to back like that. I would think this is, as you saw in Matt's holes, this would be a high side. You can even put some bunkers up here, present that way. And this green should predominantly go down to the water this way, okay? This way. All right, I know I'm off to the side, so my arrow's moving, but down this way, okay? I don't see the need for 3 tiers, especially on a hole that's 216 yards. So I think this is one where you'd want the land to move naturally and kind of be predominantly going in one direction. I think you could maybe have a mound here. And then, maybe it falls off a little this way and falls off a little that way. But this kind of, you've got 3 tiers, 1, 2, 3 here. That does not look natural, does it? And again, no offense to the designer. I really enjoyed this course. He's trying to do some unique things here with the shapes. etc. But this one just didn't work to me. It looks backwards. So it just, to me, doesn't fit in, doesn't look natural. I'll let you be the judge. But again, this one missed for me. Fun course, though. Look at that background. All right, let's take a look at one more. Okay, we're here at MOAGC National, Mother of All Golf Courses Natural, version 2, I believe. And we're at a pretty little par 3, and I pointed this out in my playthrough video. This one's a nice little setting for the green, but again, using the concepts we talked about, just look at the setup from the tee. There's a high side here, there's a hill and hills here, and then it's set in a nice little section right there in front of the water, which goes down here. So where do you think this green should be moving, right? And you can actually see it from the tee box a little. See, it's kind of depressed down in the middle there. And the left side's a little higher. Well, you guessed it. Let's take a closer look at the green. This one isn't that bad. It's just off. I just think this could be a really knockout par 3. The high side should be here, and it kind of is, and it moves a little this way. Then it kind of comes down to this valley, and it moves off here for some reason. And then this side's, the screen's kind of moving, you see over here, this way. See the beads up top? It's moving this way. And the low side's over here by the water. So I would think this side would be lower and flatter, just like we saw in Matt's course. And this side would be higher, and this green predominantly would go that way. That's a good spot for the bunker. I thought the bunker locations are great. Although I would say even you can maybe get rid of that and put the bunker there. Because it is a short 3 with the smaller screen. I think the size is fine, and the shape's a little unique. I like that. But again, this is kind of all coming down this way here. Does it drain? Yeah, I guess. I don't have a problem that it's not draining, but it's just kind of going a little bit in the opposite direction than you'd think. You can see it from this direction. You see more left to right than that, other than that section in the top right that's going right to left. So I think this could be a knockout par 3. Fun course again, but just a little off. And you can now see it from the tee shot a little, right? You'd expect it to be set up a little different, where these bunkers of here would be the high side, and these would be more of kind of the low side. So it's just, again, this is, especially from this view, this is probably a little bit particular, and getting into the details a little. But again, the point here is to make your course look natural, make it look just absolutely like a knockout hole. Like we saw it. Now, is it fair to compare these rookie designers to an expert like Matt? No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, if you want to improve, think of the pictures I tried to put in your head early in the video, and now think of how these can be improved. Right? That's all. Fun hole, though. Really good course. I highly recommend this one, too. Okay, we're going to look at one more here, and then we're going to go to one of my holes and make fun of one of my own. Okay, we've moved over to hole 12, and you can see I'm right in the middle of the fairway. And we've got an approach into a green surrounded by water. Again, you would think the low side is off by the water. You've got a little bit of hills off there to the right, a very subtle hill, not a big deal. And so you've got a little bit of a left to right thing going on. So ideally, you would think this green would move from the left to the right, maybe the back left or the middle left to the right. Let's take a look. Where does this one go? Well, you see off in the back it does a little bit, but look what happens here. Off in the middle, and predominantly this is kind of coming off here. Okay, and it's, all right, they got a little hill here, and it's moving off just a little there. But you see, this is kind of a mixed message. To me, most of this green is coming down this way. All right, and it looks like that's kind of the low side down here, and it kind of gets higher up over here. Could that happen? Sure. Does it fit naturally in? I don't know about that. Again, I think this is a good case to make here. There's a good case to be made here, just as you saw in Matt's holes. That this one predominantly should kind of be going down to the water. Could you have a little valley there? Yeah, you saw those on the holes earlier, where you can have a section here, but the main direction of the screen you'd expect to be going that way. Is this subtle? Yeah. Is this a big deal? No. Am I being picky? I don't think so. I'm just trying to, point these things out. to really help make your courses pop. I just, when I kind of look at it, I go, bah, it's not quite what you'd expect. Um, is it a bad hole? No, I like the hole. Is it a bad green? No, but could it be better? Yeah, it could be. This could be a killer hole. Um, Really good location for a green, and I think it just misses because of it's just a little bit off. Not horrendous by any means, just a little off. Okay, so that's enough on the rookie courses. Let's take one of mine that was a swing and a miss. I'm sorry. Let's take a look at one of mine that was a swing and a miss. All right, folks. Here are one of mine from 2K21, my ill-fated Cuyahoga County Downs, and this is the 14th hole, a par three that I intended to be a volcano hole. Take a look. What the hell was I thinking? Okay, this one did not work. Awful. You know what? This is a great example where I tried too hard to fit something in that didn't fit in naturally the rest of the landscape. I was hell-bent on doing a volcano hole, damn it. I was doing a Donald Ross course, and I thought I was gonna. This is a contest course. I was gonna wow everybody with a volcano hole, and I wowed absolutely nobody. I might have wowed somebody. They probably said, "Wow, that's bad," because look what happened here. There's a hill over here, and then there's this huge thing that comes up out of nowhere. That doesn't look natural. Could you have a hill there? Yeah, I guess. But does that really fit in with the rest of the landscape? Take a look. No. Right? So massive fail on my part. It just doesn't fit in. The crowd's way over here. It's way too big relative to that hill over there. I very easily could have put a hole in that falls off with that hill off to the right. But no, I had to be a superstar, and I'm making a volcano hole. Does the slope work, relatively speaking? Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's kind of moving to the front, and it's got a couple of sections moved off to the side. Maybe it's a little severe there. And that little section here is probably not big enough. So all in, this doesn't look like it fits in naturally. The contours are a little too severe, way too severe for the new game, and it's just not a good hole. So that's a massive E G-force on this one. All right. So in fairness, there's me totally goofing one up. Although I had high hopes for this course. You might actually see a version come out on 23, highly renovated. I got to get Gil Hansen crew in to renovate this one, but not anytime soon. But maybe over the summer you might see this one pop up in a new form. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Okay, here we are at 18, the par 5 finishing hole. Let's take a look. Nice setup here. Got some bunkers off to the left, hills off to the right. Notice the presentation. Got the high side on the right, low side on the left. Let's take a look again. See the bunkers are low, the hill's high. Whoops, let's get on out there. Okay, so look at this approach. How pretty is this? You've got a big hill with clubhouse off to the right, and you've got a set of bunkers behind the green and in front of the green. Once again, he's presenting the bunkers very well, as you would expect. And let's take a look. Where do you think this green's going? Of course, it's going off the hill down to the right very subtly. There's a ridge right there, and it moves further on down to the right and just off. And then you can see off in the distance the rest of the terrain goes further down hill towards the water, the river down on the other side. Okay, so as you expect from this green would be going a little bit right to left. Okay, you've got a big set of bunkers in the front and in the back. So yeah, you've got a little bit of a hill back here that's going to help you, and a ridge here to keep it interesting. So again, you see a section here without being tiered, and a section here. You can have a pin here, a pin here. You can have another one here. Lots of options here, and it's going to keep it interesting. So does it look natural? Absolutely. Does it keep it interesting? It sure does. Okay, so let's go review one more time the fine points. Try to make your greens look natural. make sure they flow naturally with the landscape and they fit in with the terrain that you're putting the green site on. Um, and then make sure you have them in a spot that's interesting, um, but makes sense. Okay. And then, finally, make sure you're considering how it's going to drain, how water would drain, which way is it going to go. Um, and if you do that, you can add a little ridge here and there, or a valley, or maybe something to keep it interesting, give it some sections and some strategic playability. That's beyond the scope of this video, but I hope that helps demonstrate the concepts I've been trying to get through. Okay, so we looked at some excellent greens, some greens that needed some work, including one of mine, and hopefully this drives the point home further. So thank you very much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Please let me know if there's any content you'd like to see. Leave me a comment, drop me a line. Happy to help in any way. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you real soon.